are going to click where it says join as attendee.
Okay.
Go ahead and do that now because mine is open.
Okay.
When you clicked on it, did it open another box?
Yeah, it says enter meeting password.
Okay, the password is clarinet, which is the instrument I play. So it's C-L-A-R-I-N-E-T. You want me to spell that again?
I think I got it.
Okay. Yes, woohoo! Success! It worked. Yay! Okay. So great. And see, now I don't have a picture of you, but that's fine because what I'm going to do, Alex, is I'm going to screen share with you, okay? And then you will be able to see what you have to do to get into the class, okay? It says you're connecting to audio, so you can go ahead and unmute yourself so that I can hear you. There we go. Woohoo! Gotcha. Yes. How you doing?
Good.
Okay. Now I'm going to do screen share. And it's going to ask me which one of my screens. No, not that one. I don't like any of those. That's not the screen I want. Let me try that one. And then I'm going to change it over. Aha, there we go. All right, cool. All right, so when you're on this page, you were here and you didn't know how to get into your class, right?
Yeah.
I'm not surprised to hear that. Because if you look at this, you're like, what do I click on? And you try clicking on welcome to physical science and nothing happens. You're clicking on stuff and none of it. So guess what? See this hamburger menu right up here at the very top, right there, main menu?
Yeah.
That's it. You click on that. Now look at that screen. You see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. See where it says lessons right there?
Mm-hmm.
Click on lessons. Now let's see what happens. It's a little slow. Aha! Woohoo!
Okay.
There it is. So then you see we've got 1, 2, 3. Those are the 3 for this semester, and then 4, 5, 6 is for the second semester. Okay.
Okay.
You notice there's a getting started button up here at the top, so we're gonna go ahead and click on that.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just tells you, they're basically going to walk you through some basic stuff. You see up at the top of the page, see this little, it tells you how many total pages there are.
Okay.
And you could navigate to different pages like this. And if you wanted to go page 3, you could scroll through here, like using that button right there, or you can go up to page 3. Okay. Something else I want you to notice that's at the top. It says menu, notes, glossary, print, and toolkit. Okay. But all of this stuff that's at the top is going to be at the top for every lesson that you do. All right. So if you click on the menu button, it's going to show you the 6 units. Collaboration is something we don't do. It's if I wanted you guys to do labs together, but we're not doing that. Okay. Motion is the first module, waves is the second module, electricity is the third module. And that's the end of the first semester. And then these 3, so those 3 are physics and these 3 are chemistry. So you would start with motion.
Okay.
Now, before we do that, let's just scroll over here. Why isn't that thing going away? Go away. Okay. So I'm going to just scroll to the next page. And notice that they have a little interactive video. And this is going to tell you about stuff that you have to cover in this class because it's a Florida State standard. Throughout your lessons, you're going to see little videos and stuff like this. The system keeps track. It actually knows whether you watch the video or not. So you have to go ahead and click on everything and watch everything.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
So, all right, let's see what this is.
You hope this course will make you smarter, faster, stronger,
and better,
snazzier,
better,
brainier, cooler, brighter, savvier, sharper. All right. Put your hand down. Good news, it can. But you're gonna need the info in this video to help, because from now on, the answers to the tests are not all in the course. That's because this course has been updated with the new Florida standards. Without getting all technical, the Florida standards mean students like you all over Florida and across the U.S. are on a level playing field.
Really? All over Florida? And they don't show Florida? Oh, they finally show Florida. Okay, thanks, man. We're the last state, they say. Okay.
The workforce or both. You know, all that real world stuff. It's like this. Your brain is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And Florida standards are like a beefy trainer dude. But instead of helping you crunch your way to abs of steel, he's here to whip your mind into shape. So get ready to sweat, because here's what's in store. Instead of staring at this or memorizing what's in here, you're going to step out of your learning comfort zone. You'll learn a whole lot more about the world, discuss stuff, write about stuff, and sound super smart while doing it. You'll finally see how what you learn in school can be used every day and become a faster, more efficient master problem solver. But most importantly, it'll help you figure out a question you've been asking since you were a toddler. Why? But like anything that's good for you, Florida standards are not easy. It takes hard work. In fact, struggling to find the answer is part of why it's so effective. No pain, no gain. Definitely no easy aid. You're gonna need to use all the tools at your disposal. But don't worry, your teacher is here to help. So do whatever you gotta do.
I look better than that guy though.
Shred some air.
Well, considering I'm 60 years old, I definitely look better than that guy.
Some hardcore knowledge.
You're supposed to say, yes, Miss Curran, you don't look 60 at all.
You don't.
First lesson of being a guy, always tell women they look younger than they are, okay? Rule number one, it's just a good thing. Okay, so now we watched a little video, okay? And now you can always scroll to make sure there's nothing else on the page. Also, see this show text version?
Yeah.
If you didn't want to watch the video, or you're doing it at night and you're having to use the computer in a common room and it's too noisy, you can just read it instead of watching that whole thing. It's all there, okay?
Okay.
Sometimes, and then you can take it back to the video like that. Sometimes you want that text box. I'm going to show you in one of your lessons where you really want to use that text box, but that'll be later. Okay, so now we're going to navigate to the next page. This is page 3, and this just tells you that we also use the next generation science standards, which is just another set of standards, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so we're done. We click, and that should take us to our, okay, navigation. This is showing you how to navigate through the course, okay? It's a selected highlighted area to learn more about navigating in your course. So menu, so we're going to click that one first. And I already kind of showed you the menu button, but it does let you go from one module to another. So let's go up to our actual real menu button, which is up here on the left. See where I am?
Yeah.
You click it, I can go to motion. And if I click on motion, you see it shows me all of the lessons in motion. So if, let's say you had done these first 3 and you wanted to go to 1.03, instead of having to click through all these pages up here with the arrows, you can just hit menu and then you go over to 1.03 and then you click on it and it takes you right to that lesson. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right. I'm going to go back to the menu button now and go back to getting started because that's where we were. And we were in navigation. Okay. Okay. We already know this. Okay. Notes. Now, this is supposed to have the notes for every chapter. Physical science does not have that. I just started teaching this class this year, and so I'm going to be making a set of notes, but I haven't done it yet because I'm still overwhelmed with all the work I have to do. But this basically, if you click on this, it's going to show you how to take Cornell notes. It's not going to do it for you. There's no notes stored in here for you. If you were taking biology or chemistry, they have notes already for you, but class doesn't. So, but it tells you how to take notes, and you can scroll through that whole thing and it'll show you how to do Cornell notes, or however you want to take notes, you can do. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Next. Oh, by the way, notes. You can use notes to do the assignments. You can use notes to do a DBA with me, which a DBA is a discussion-based assessment. That is right before you're ready for a test. You do that with me on the phone. It's supposed to take about 15 minutes, and I ask you 5 questions from that section to see if you kind of know what you're doing. And I'm supposed to use that to see if you're ready for the exam. And if you can't answer the 5 questions with me, then I don't let you take the exam. I make you go back and take notes or something so that you're better prepared. The reason why I do that, the exams, they only allow you to take them 2 times. And they only keep your newest score. Let's say you take one of the exams and you get a 68 and you're like, oh, that's a D. I don't want a D. I'm going to take it again. But then you just go back and you think you can remember which ones you didn't know. So you're like, oh, well, I'll look those up really quick or whatever. And you go back and you get a 62. The computer's going to keep the 62.
Oh, okay.
Which sucks, right? Now, with assignments, you can turn those in 3 times. And each time you turn it in, I grade it. If there's something really problematic with it, I will tell you exactly what it is that you got wrong and how to fix it, you can go in and fix it, and I will give you more points.
Okay.
And that can be done 3 times. And I have the option, if you're really struggling, I can reset to do it more than that. The problem is the labs in this course take me minimum 15 minutes to grade 1 lab. So if I'm grading like 4 or 5 times, it's a lot because I have to grade all these labs. So hopefully we won't have to do that, but that is an option. I haven't really had to do that with anybody yet. Okay, next is a good one. Look at this glossary button right here. There is a glossary. It's basically got an alphabet in it, and it has all the definitions for all the vocab words.
Okay.
So if you're taking one of the exams and you really quick need a definition, you can go over, see the glossary button right here? See that? Go ahead and look in there. All right. So here's a list of alphabetized stuff. Let's think of a word that applies to physics that maybe you've heard of. Just think of a word.
Friction.
Friction, good one. Let's go to F. All right, let's see if friction, there it is. And look, they tell you how to pronounce it.
Friction.
Like you didn't know how to pronounce that, but you might need help. And then under that is a definition, a force that works against the motion of an object. Boom, there's your definition. You don't have to go searching in the lesson to find it. It'll be in the lesson, but it's nice to be able to just go into the glossary and find it.
Yeah, okay.
That being said, not everything that should be in this glossary is. For instance, in module 2 on sound, you have a whole lab on the Doppler effect. They don't have Doppler effect in this glossary, and they really need it in this glossary. Also, their definition for pitch is only halfway complete, and I can tell you that almost every one of my students got that lab wrong.
Okay.
Wrong. Completely wrong. I had to rewrite it a billion times. I made a live lesson on that one. That's not going to happen to you, Alex. I already made a lesson. I sent the links out to that today. Did you happen to see the email that I sent?
Not yet.
I'm going to help you find those emails. That's another thing we have to talk about today. Okay. Cool. All right, so let me go back in the glossary. So I'm just going to hit the back button, except for I'm not sure if that's the best way to do. The glossary has its own back button. No, so I end up, oh, there's an X down here. That's what I'll do. Yes, that's good. So that's the glossary. It's on every page that you open. It's always there. Print, if you need to print a page, let's say it's got a chart on it that you want to be able to use on the test. It's got a chart with all the 4 fundamental forces, let's say, and you want to print that. So you can go ahead and hit the print button and print whatever page you want to print. And that way you don't have to write notes. You can just have it printed and have it in a folder. That might be good. I can tell you right now on module 1.03 on Newton's laws, all of Newton's laws are on one page. So you can just print that page. Boom.
Okay.
Put it in your folder. You got it right there. So like sometimes you might not be able to get into the module for whatever reason. You got a folder and it can help you. Like if you're doing a DBA with me, but you're not at the computer, you got it printed out, then you're good. Okay, and then the toolkit, I checked the toolkit. I didn't find it that particularly helpful. It's a place to find resources like printable rulers, how to make a graph, basic math and science reviews, and other useful information. It says that it has science skills and stuff. I didn't find a lot in there that we have needed to use yet. I went and looked through this whole page. This is the page. This is one that tells you how to write a lab report. Here's the thing. You don't really need that because your labs in this module, they basically ask you the questions one at a time and you just follow the directions and answer the questions. So you don't need to purpose, procedure, materials. You don't need all that stuff because they lay it out for you. Okay. But research, citing sources. Oh, actually, those ones are good. I need to tell people to use this. There is a lab. See this citing sources one with the picture of the kitty with the glasses right there?
Yeah.
There's going to be a lab in module 2. It's 2.05 where they make you cite 3 sources. That's going to be helpful to you to use that citing sources. Yeah. Lab safety, you don't need it because we're not in an actual lab. So metric ruler, like none of that stuff do you need right now. There is a periodic table. When we get to second semester, you're going to need that. Okay. You will be using it semester. Periodic trends. Oh yeah, that's good. Cornell notes, which we have already looked at. Download the table. Scientific notation. Yeah. Okay. So that's the toolkit. Let's go back. Was there an X on the bottom of this one too? Let me see. No, I don't see an X, but it says print at the bottom. You could actually print this page too to see what tools there are in case you wanted to. All right. So let's go back a page. I just hit the back button. Okay, so we pretty much looked at all the stuff. Oh, here's the 1 of 3. And that'll show you how many pages you have. And you can click on that to show you individual pages like I already showed you. So instead of having to scroll through with buttons, yeah.
Okay.
And then they have icons. The most important icon for you is this assessment one right here. Do you see how it looks like a little page with a ribbon on it?
Yeah.
What happens to a lot of students is they get to the assessment page and it'll say assessment across the top. And then they have like a review right under it. Well, a lot of kids think that's the assessment questions and they'll try to answer those questions. What you have to do is scroll down the page until you see this little picture of the paper with the blue ribbon, and that's the actual assessment. I'm going to show you that in the first lesson. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So we did that toolkit. La 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 la. Okay. So we're done with that. If we hit the forward button, it should parts of a lesson. There's always an introduction and objectives. The middle part, they're going to teach you terms and they always highlight them. See how these are highlighted in blue like that?
Yeah.
That would be what you'd run and write down in your folder. Get some notes. And even if you just write a basic definition, or even if you don't write the definition, if you go, okay, section 1.02, and you write hypothesis, scientific method, theory, you know, if they ask you a question on a quiz, you know it's in section 1.02 because you wrote those vocab words under section 102. You made yourself a little heading and you wrote the vocab words. Then when you see it on the test, you're like, oh, I got to go back to that lesson and find that.
Yeah. Okay.
Right? Or you could just go up to the glossary and look it up. But remember, I told you Doppler effect wasn't in the glossary. Sometimes that won't work. So it's good to know what chapter it's in. Okay, cool. All right. And then at the end of every lesson, and lessons can be 3 pages. I haven't seen any shorter than 3. And the longest lesson I've seen has been 7 pages, if I remember correctly. The last page is always the assessment page. And you see the picture of it? See how this assessment right here has the little paper with the blue ribbon, and it gives you instructions on how to do the assessment right there. Okay.
Okay.
I'm pointing that out because people got confused by that. All right. Let's hit the arrow again and see what's on the next page. Okay, submitting your work. So let me move this out of the way so you can see. Certain assignments contain a rubric that your teacher will use to grade your assignment. The rubric shows you exactly the kind of work your teacher will expect from you. Before beginning your assignment, read through the rubric to understand the expectations. Use it to guide you to complete your assignment. Okay. I'll just tell you that I use basic guidelines. For instance, if a lab is worth 60 points and it has 2 sections, probably one section is 30 points and the other one is 30 points. And then what I do is I divide the points among how many questions there are. So if it's 30 points and there's 6 questions, each one's worth 5 points. That's what I do. And then I basically look at how completely you answer the question. For instance, the question will say, give 3 reasons why Newton's first law of motion applies in this case. And if you only give me 2 of the 3 reasons and the question's worth 5 points, I'm probably going to take 1 or 2 points off. Like, that's how I do it. So you have to be careful to read the directions and do everything it says to do. Okay. All right. Now we're in the meeting. I actually think I can hang up the phone because it's driving me crazy because I'm hearing an echo. So I'm going to hang up.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I'm like, wait a minute. Do I need to have this phone on? No, I do not need to have the phone on. Okay. Okay. All right. So that was submitting. And I have to show you most of the time in this class, when you submit work, it's going to be a worksheet. You're going to download it. You're going to click enable editing. You're going to type your answers right on it. And then you're going to re-upload it to the assignment page. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Let's go over to the next page. Woohoo. Quizzes or exams, labs and activities, and lab safety. Okay, in quizzes, you can be presented with a variety of items like true and false, matching, fill in the blank, or multiple choice. Make sure you read each question and option carefully before answering. Some will require you to write a short answer. If you have to do a short answer, I have to grade those. It'll be like you'll have I believe your first quiz is just 8 questions long, and question number 8 is an essay where you have to write 2 sentences.
Okay.
I remember the question is, what is a frame of reference, and give an example of how it works. That's going to be your first essay question. Okay.
Okay.
So you will do the multiple choice and then you'll submit it to me and then I'll grade the essay and then it's graded. Okay.
Okay.
Also, if I have to make comments on a quiz or a test or assignment, I fill in my comment box and then I will click send to student and you will get a copy of my comments so that you can see what you need to do to raise your grade. You might decide you don't want to get, let's say you get an 82 on an assignment. You're okay with that. I'll still tell you what you can do to get a higher score because if you want for more points, I'm happy to help you do that. But if you're like an 82 and you're good with it, you do not have to resubmit. It's always an option unless you're failing grade. If you get something below 60, you have to do it again. FLPS will not let you pass a class with any failed assignments.
All right.
Okay. Yeah. Now tests that you fail, I have to reset the test to allow you to take it a second time. I think that's how it works, but you only get those 2 shots. Remember I told you about that? Okay. So, all right. Labs and activities. So let me see what it says. You may get to choose how you wish to complete a lab or activity. They'll have a lab report or activity worksheet for you to submit. To be successful, read the directions carefully, contact your instructor with any questions. Lab reports and worksheets should be kept in your notes for future reference. So here's the thing. When you download one of these files and you fill it in and then you upload it to me, save a copy. You need to have a file where you put all your physical science work. Because if something happens in the upload and I don't get it, you need to be able to resend it to me. So don't delete that. Keep all those Word docs, okay?
All right.
It's just a smart thing to do. And you know, if you couldn't get it to upload in the system, sometimes I haven't had anybody have that trouble. Back when we were doing distance learning back in the 4th quarter, I had some kids who couldn't work eCampus, and so they would just email me their document as an attachment, and that worked fine. We made that work.
Okay.
So it's just good to keep a copy. Okay, you do not want to do all that work again. You're doing
all right.
4 parts. Keep it, keep a copy. And then if I say, well, you need to adjust this and tweak this, you can go right back in, edit the copy and just add some more stuff to it because you already got it and you saved it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's usually what happens. Okay. Lab safety. You don't need to do that because we're not doing labs in my classroom. Unfortunately, I love labs, but this is virtual. So, you know, all right, here we go. Here's the next arrow. Let's see what else we got. Discussion-based assessment, that's a DBA. That's when you make an appointment on Bookify to talk to me in, I think the schedule gives you 20-minute increments. So 1 o'clock, 1:20, 1:40, 2 o'clock. I think, I'm not exactly sure, but it usually takes minimum of 20 minutes to do a DBA. I write a set of questions. Now, this isn't your class. This is my peer counseling class. And I wrote 5 questions that I ask all of them. And I took 1 question from each chapter that I thought was like a major question. So I do that with you guys too. You guys have 3 DBAs, 1 for each module. Okay. A DBA is supposed to be an assessment. It's like a test. I think of it as a review where I help you get ready for your exam. So I'll just tell you right now, Alex, I don't give anybody lower than an 85 on DBAs.
Okay.
And I'm telling you that because I don't want you to be nervous about DBAs. A lot of people are like, oh my God, they freak out and they procrastinate calling me to set one up and then you'll get stuck. It's not that big a deal. I will help coach you if I feel like you're having trouble with a section. I'll say, okay, we are going to go ahead and say that you passed this DBA, but you need to go in your notes and go look in this chapter and look up this thing because you didn't know that one. So I'll always tell you, and that way you can get a little bit of information in your notes. And then when you take your test, you'll have the information. You'll know that. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that's what DBAs are. You have to do a DBA when all of the assignments in the module are done. Module number 1 has 6 assignments. The DBA is assignment number 7. You actually have to turn that in as an assignment. What you do is you go in, you click on the assignment, and then there's a student box, and you just type in what we talked about. Like I'm going to ask you about Newton's laws and the 4 fundamental forces and potential and kinetic energy, and you'll just write 4 forces, Newton's laws, potential kinetic energy, like that. You just write like what we talk about, and then I go down and I give you a grade how I thought you did in my discussion, and then I submit it. And then once I do that, I give you the code. When I give you when I submit the thing, I'll put the code that you need to get you into the exam, because the exams are locked. So you can't like just jump ahead and take the exams, because people try to do that. Virtual school does not like that. They're like, no, because you only have 2 shots. And if you mess up one of your good shots because you weren't really ready, that's why they don't let you have any failing assignments before you do a DBA and before you take an exam. So
Okay.
that's a thing. That's one of their rules. A lot of times when people schedule DBAs with me, for instance, today I had 5 people schedule DBAs. The first 3 people had failing assignments. So I texted him and I'm like, no, you can't have your DBA. You got to fix those failing assignments. You know, that's a rule. There is a rubric right here that you can look at to see how we grade. Like I said, I don't really use that. I can tell if you know anything at all, or if you're just really floundering. And if you are, I will give you suggestions that what you should do before you take your exam so that you don't mess it up. Okay.
Okay.
It's like getting a personal exam study session with me. That is basically what a DBA is. If you think of it like that, it'll be good and you won't be nervous about it. Yeah. Okay. Honors, you're not taking honors physical science, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay. Okay. Collaboration, you do not have to do. That is something that they sometimes do in science courses, but because everybody's new to virtual, we're not doing those. So you'll see those occasionally, just ignore those.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Next, let's see what else we're going to do here. Grit. I don't even know what this is. Oh, you know what grit is? It's sticking to something. You start something, you stay with it. That's what grit means. You ever heard of the movie True Grit with John Wayne?
No.
Anyway, it's a classic movie of John Wayne's from the 60s. Do you know who John Wayne is?
John Wayne, I heard of him.
Yeah, he did all these Westerns. He was this really big, tall guy and a super tough guy.
Yeah.
Great. Oh, you'd like those movies. Okay. So this is a little video about grit. I'm not going to play it for you. Basically, my job, you know why I called you guys and I kept trying to get a hold of you? Because I'm here to help you. So whatever you need, I'm going to help you. Okay. Okay. And part of that is you got to do your part. I do my part. You do your part. Okay. All right. So we won't watch that video. Let's skip to the next page. Is it the last page? Wait a minute. Okay. Online Learning 101. The number one most common mistake is not using your time or resources wisely. So make a schedule and review communication from your instructor before you start your work. This is where the extra email is that I needed to show you. Okay. Okay. Can you go out of this course and go back a page? I'm going to see if I can show you on my dashboard. I'm going to go out of the course. Oh, that'll take me forever if I do it that way. I'm going to go to the home button right here. There's a home button at the top. It looks like a little house. So click on that and see where it takes you. I have another dashboard page I can try. Where's my dashboard? Oh, there it goes. This is taking me back to the announcement page. It's not the announcement page I want you to go to. It's the page that shows both of your classes, your geometry and your physical science. That's the page. Yeah. Okay. Look in the upper right-hand corner of that page. Do you see a little mail icon? Yeah. Yeah. Does it have a red number on it? Yeah, 15. 14? 14. Most of those are going to be from me. Click on it and let's see if they're all from me or not. I think that's about how many I've said since August. Yeah, they are. Yeah. Okay. And you need to check that, because let's say you're getting ready to do lesson 1.03 and you didn't know that I did a live lesson on 103. Alex, I go through the entire lesson and I answer every question. All you have to do is watch the video and you're done. Right? Do you know how many of my kids didn't even look at those links for that? Because they don't know about that email. And I've had to, this is one of the reasons we have welcome calls. After we're done talking and we get you going, I'm going to ask to talk to your mom or your dad, and we're going to make it into your welcome call. And I'm just going to tell them how we got you started and we have a plan for you to work. So just so they know what's going on. Okay. So, but anyway, check your emails once a day. Now, you have a lot of emails to catch up on. A lot of the earlier ones are me saying, hey guys, my Bookify link doesn't work. So just text me or email me if you need to make an appointment. Or if you have any questions. And by the way, that always works. You can always text, you can always email. And you can call too. It's a little bit harder to get me on calls, but not that bad.
Okay.
I'm old, so we old people like to call, right?
Yeah.
And we email too. You guys, I know that you guys like to text, but I can't upload a link into a text. I don't know how to do that. I know how to put a picture in a text, but I don't know
Yeah.
how to, something that's on my hard drive, I don't know how to get it into a text. I mean, I'm not that savvy.
Yeah.
I have to send you an email if I want you to have links. If I'm sending you a link for a Zoom meeting, we have one tomorrow. It's going to be at, is it 3 o'clock? Yeah, tomorrow at 3 o'clock, I'm going to do lesson 2.04.
Okay,
Now,
so then I just log in like I logged in on this one.
just like that, you go to the
Okay.
link, you go attend as attendee. My password is always clarinet.
Clarinet.
But,
Okay.
when I send the invitations, if you look at the email that I sent about, go ahead and click on the last email I said that says reminder. You see that one?
Let me go back.
Okay.
Okay, the last one.
Yeah, it should say reminder in all caps. Do you see that?
Mm,
Is that the last one? What's the last one I sent say?
the last one. Activity progress.
Oh, that's your personal email. That is not my group email. Interesting. Do you see one that says it should have today's date 10/26 on it? Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, and what
Yeah,
does that one say?
yeah, that's the first one. Yeah,
That's the one.
reminder.
Okay, click on that one.
Yeah.
Now, you notice that in there, I tell you, hey guys, there's a Zoom meeting tomorrow. And I say, see the previous email I sent you for information on how to log into the Zoom meeting. It says that, right? Does
Yeah.
it tell you does it say what the password is?
No.
No, but in the previous email where I first said, hey guys, new live Zoom lesson, scroll down a couple. Do you see the one that I sent on Thursday?
Yeah, new live next lesson next Tuesday.
Go ahead and open that one.
Yeah, this one has the passcode.
It has a password, and you'll see I list 4 different ways that you can sign into Zoom.
Yeah.
But now you know how to do it because you got your Zoom tutorial today, which is great. That's good. It's good that we did it as a Zoom lesson. Zoom is very useful for a lot of things. I really like it as a tool. Okay, now go back to the lesson, the email I sent today, the reminder one.
Okay. I'm on it.
You got it? Okay, good. So the beginning part is just saying, hey guys, don't forget there's a live lesson tomorrow. It's going to help you. And then if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see I say, by the way, I sent you some links for the older live lessons, but they don't work anymore because I accidentally deleted them off of Zoom, which I did. I saved them on my hard drive. I have them. So I actually give you the new links.
Okay.
You see them? I actually uploaded them to YouTube is what I did. I have a YouTube channel because I also make music videos, classical music videos, but I mean, they're good. And they're short and I'm never boring. I try not to be boring anyway. I'm ADHD, so I can't be boring, right? That's not
Yeah, same.
right? You know what I'm saying then. You know exactly.
Yeah.
We're like the bright and lively people, and we might procrastinate, but we can get stuff done and we keep everybody laughing in the meantime.
Yep.
So that's good. Okay. So those are 2, though I uploaded those to YouTube, and when you get to those 2 lessons, remember that you have the links. We're actually going to start one of them today. I'm going to show you how to start it, and then you're going to watch the video that I have made already, and it's going to walk you through the entire thing. Okay.
Okay.
So now you know that email that you just found that has all of those 13, 14 emails in it, check that every day.
All right.
If I have something important that all of my, and it's usually my physical science students because that's my hardest class. I also teach peer counseling. It's so easy. My peer counseling people are almost done. It's only October and they're done. That's because their class is so easy. Their class is not easy, so we got to get you rolling, okay? Okay. So, but you need to check the emails every day because I might save you some time by saying, hey, I got a lesson for that. So, all right. So we're on this page. Now let's go up to the menu page up here. See this?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're back. And there you see lessons are the first thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a drop down menu? I think yours doesn't look exactly like mine because I'm a teacher, you know, but do you have a kind of menu like this? See my menu?
Yeah, I click on your course, right?
Yeah, click on my course and it's going to take you to this page right here with the announcement page on it. It'll take you to
Yeah.
this.
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
You have to drop down.
Right. So now you're going to go back up to the top. Well, you have to, and then open the hamburger menu, which is the main menu. And you should get this drop down like this.
Yeah.
It doesn't have as much stuff, right?
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Mine has less.
It has less stuff because I'm a teacher and I have to do all this crap. But there's some stuff that's in from there's some getting started, pacing, materials, student resources. See student resources?
Yeah.
That might be, I've never clicked on that, but let's see what's there and see if there's something there that can help you. Okay, student resource list. This is like for a lot of different classes. Huh. All right, well, that's interesting. I don't see anything there for science, except maybe how to do graphing. Yeah, but there's nothing to click on. Like, where do you click? No, never mind the student resource, that one. That one's not doing anything. Okay, we're back to the hamburger menu again. So click on the lessons is the very first thing in the upper left-hand corner. You see that? So click on lessons.
All right, lessons.
Yep. Okay. Now we did all the getting started stuff. So let's go ahead and click on 1. Now here's all of the lessons. So the first thing they have, and they do this for each lesson, they have a pre-test. They want to see how much you already know about motion. That is optional. You do not have to do that. So I'm going to say we should skip it, okay, because you're behind. So let's skip that. The next thing is 1.01, the study of science. So let's click on that. And I believe this is this a little quiz? This wasn't anything I had to grade for my students. So I think it might not even, you might just have to click through and do the activities. And I don't think there's anything else you have to do. So it says the study of science. Whenever you take a science class, they always make you do intro to science. So here it is, right? So it's see the definition of science. If you put your mouse on it, look, it gives you a definition. Boom.
Oh, okay.
That's convenient, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And here's the scientific method, same thing. The method used to investigate scientifically valid questions. And for scientific method, you're also going to want to know what the 6 steps are. That's going to appear later on in one of the other lessons. So, all right. So this is just giving you an intro. And then here's the objectives. You see the arrow with the into the target. They're going to tell you, here's what we're going to talk about in this lesson. Okay. It could be useful if you're looking for something, you're taking a test and you can't remember which sections it, and you can go look at the objective page and see if it's in there like that. All right, let's go to the next page. You notice at the top it says page 1 of 5. There's 5 pages in this lesson.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and click the next arrow, go to page 2. All right, so this is science or not. So we have science, physics, biology, chemistry, not science, philosophy, Babylonian language studies, cosmetology. Here's a picture of Plato. He was an ancient Greek philosopher. He told people what he thought about stuff and life and the universe and everything, but he didn't do any experiments. He was not a scientist.
Okay.
So the ancient Greeks were people who valued education and the arts and observations of nature. They would notice stuff, but they didn't know how to experiment with stuff yet. They wrote accurate observations and discovered many important ideas in math. Now, math, you don't have to do experiments to figure out. They decided the best way to understand how and why things happen was to simply think about them a lot. This says it right there. And imagine different explanations and then pick what seems like the best explanation. That's not how science is, right? Okay, so we're going to scroll a little bit. So is this science? No, you got to click on it. See, now you could just go, well, whatever, I know it's no, and go on. But the system keeps track of whether you do the activity. So you need to go ahead and click on no. And then it'll tell you whether you got it right or not.
Yeah, it says that's correct.
Yeah. Now, if you clicked on yes, it's going to tell you to try again. So go over and click no. Make sure you got it. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Like I said, for this one, there may not be any test or any questions at the end. It may just be, did you do all the activities on the pages?
Yeah, okay.
If you don't do them, you don't get credit for the assignment.
Oh, okay.
Seriously. So you have to do all this little stuff. Okay, so let's go on. How did you do? Well, I think we figured that out. Woohoo! All right, so science is quantifiable. That means you can measure it with numbers. You can test, you can make predictions that you can test and see if they're true. You have used controlled conditions. If you're going to test to see, I'm going to grow some tomato plants and I'm going to give some of the tomatoes more nitrogen to see if they grow more. But you got to have some tomatoes you don't give nitrogen to, because you need to see, well, if you give them all nitrogen and they all grow, how do you know whether it worked or not? You need to see the ones that didn't get any, and that's a control, and that's really important in science, okay? And then reproducible. Can other people do your tomato plant experiment with nitrogen? If they can't, then it's not science, okay?
Oh, okay.
Right. And now we scroll down and we've got how science works, and here are 5 steps of the scientific method. Later on in unit 2, they're going to give you 6 steps. I wish they would be consistent. That's kind of confusing, right?
Yeah.
Make up your minds, guys. How many steps do we have to know for this class? Okay, is this a video? It doesn't look like it. It says, take me to the tutorial. Let's click on that and see what it is. All right, so they're going to go through the steps of the scientific method one at a time. You see how there's question up here first, and see the first one down here.
Yeah.
All right, so there's several versions. It says it right here. There are several versions of the scientific method, but they all are based on rational thinking, inquiry, and experimentation. 5 main steps. You have a question. You notice something. Sometimes they'll say you make an observation. You notice something and you wonder, like, okay, I have Duracell and Energizer batteries. I'm going on a trip over this weekend and I can't be taking all my batteries with me. Which ones should I take with me? Which ones are going to last the longest? So that's your question. Which ones are going to last the longest, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's your question. And here's another one. They give you an example. Maybe you mow and maintain lawns in your neighborhood for a summer job. One of your customers has a healthy front lawn, except for one spot where the grass won't grow. Now, you're not some lawn expert guy, but you're maybe trying to figure out why won't the grass grow in that spot. So your question might be, what prevents from the grass growing in this spot? I've got a spot like that in my backyard, and we have landscapers that come in and cut the lawn and cut all our hedges. And then we have a separate guy that's our grass guy, and he controls for weeds and like mole crickets and stuff like that. And he goes, you've got this spot right here, and it looks like somebody spilled gasoline right there. So he already had, because through his job, he observed many lawns and he saw what it looked like. So in a way, he kind of experimented and he knew that it was gasoline. And then he says, did you spill any gas? I'm like, I didn't do it. It must have been the landscaper guys. They spilled some gasoline. So then I had to go bust their chops about it. And so, you guys spilled gasoline on my grass. Messed it up. Okay, research. So now this is how you're going to find out, is there any information already out there? So you were talking about Duracell and Energizer batteries, right?
Yeah.
You could go on the internet and see if anybody's ever actually tested one versus the other. Like, do you know there's a magazine called Consumer Reports? Have you ever heard of that?
No.
That's exactly what they do. They take consumer products like cars, dishwashers, microwaves, headphones, batteries, and they test them for you so you don't have to do it. So you could go online and go, which battery lasts longer, Duracell or Energizer? And you just Google that, and you might find the Consumer Reports website, and you can go read about their experiments that they do, because they actually do scientific experiments. Or you can just Google it and see if somebody else has done the experiment. That would be the research part of the scientific method. See if anybody else already has done it. Why should you do the experiment if someone else has already done it, right? Save yourself some time, right? Okay. So the research. And so that's where you go and you look up stuff and you find out what else people already know. Well, let's say they don't have a definite opinion. You can next form your hypothesis. That's what you think. So now, Alex, right now, which one do you think lasts longer, Duracell or Energizer?
Duracell, I'm pretty sure, I think.
I mean, you know what it is? I think it's the packaging. They got the copper top and the black box. It just looks like a more expensive battery.
Yeah.
Cost a little bit more than Energizers. I think they're both pretty expensive. But I just bought some batteries at Costco 2 days ago. I got Duracell. So it sounds like I'm falling for their marketing. Right? Okay. So hypothesis is, I think it's Duracell because they cost more. Whatever. I think they're going to last longer. Okay. Construct a hypothesis. You if then statements. If the Duracell batteries are better. They will last longer in my flashlight. Like that could be an if then, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So now you test it. So what are you going to do? You got to get some flashlights. If you're going to test 2 brands of batteries, you need 2 of the same flashlight, right? Because if you put them in different flashlights, maybe one flashlight draws more power than the other flashlight and it'll suck the battery dry sooner. And you don't know that if you got 2 different flashlights. So the flashlights would be your control. That's the part you don't change, right?
Yeah.
And then your independent variable and your dependent variable. Have you heard of those before?
Yes.
The independent variable is the thing you're going to change. You're going to change the brand of battery, right? What's the dependent variable? The dependent variable is the thing that gets
The
affected.
flashlight.
Well, it's the light coming out of the flashlight,
Oh yeah.
right? Wouldn't it be how long the flashlights stay lit? If you
Yes.
put a different battery in each flashlight, what's going to be different about them? How long the battery keeps the light going. So that's the dependent variable. Later on in section 2 in module 2, they explain that. They have a really nice little thing that you can click on, and it has the definition for each one of those. It's really good. So all right, so then testing. So that's where you do an experiment. Oh, here it is right here. I didn't even know it was right here because I skipped this one because I didn't have to grade an assignments in this, so I never read this. I mean, I know how the scientific method works. So independent variable, and there's a definition. It's the thing the scientist has chosen to change. That would be your brand of battery, right? And you should only ever test one independent variable. Does that mean you can only test one kind of battery? No, you need at least 2 battery. But would you say, well, I think Duracell lasts longer, and I think if you keep them in the freezer, they'll last longer. That's 2 independent variables because you got different brands of batteries and you're keeping them, some of them in the freezer and some of them not in the freezer. You're testing too many things at the same time. If they last longer, do you know it's because it's Duracell brand or because you put it in the freezer, right? You don't know. So that's why you only test one independent variable at a time. Okay. Yeah. And it says it right there. This allows the scientist to focus only on the results. Okay. Dependent variable. The dependent variable is the factor that changes in response to the independent variable. In the example experiment, grass growth is a dependent variable. You were trying to figure out why the grass wasn't growing in that one patch. So what would you do? Did they say what the independent variable was for that? The pH of the soil. They're saying you might like get a soil test kit and test the soil in that one spot and see if it's messed up compared to the soil around it, right? Okay, so that's one way. It could be the pH or somebody spilling gasoline on it, right? Okay, dependent variable. And then the control, remember we talked about that? That's the thing that's the same for your different groups that you're testing. If you've got different brands of batteries, you need the same flashlights, right? Yes, so we already talked about that. And your grass growing thing, what would be the control? If it's in a lawn, okay, so it's in a part of the lawn that gets the same amount of light, the same amount of water, maybe fertilizer, maybe you fertilize your grass, every 3 months or whatever. Those would all be controls. Whatever you do to both sections of the grass, the good part of the grass and the bad part of the grass, is the control. And controls, you can have more than one control. Okay. For instance, if you were doing the flashlights, you got the same brand of flashlight, wouldn't you keep them probably in the same room when you do your test? If you're going to compare them to each other, you would turn on your flashlights, right? And then you'd set them down in the same area. What if you put one of your flashlights in your bedroom and you put the other flashlight on the front porch? That's not controlled, right?
No.
If you put it on the front porch, isn't it hotter outside?
Yeah.
You know that when you have batteries in hotter conditions, they wear out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you don't don't want to leave your phone in a hot car because it'll mess up your battery. Yeah. So see, that would not be a control. You would want the 2 flashlights to be in the same conditions. If you want to put them on the porch, you can, but you got to put both of them on the porch. If you want to put them in your room, you put them in your whatever. It has to be the same. That's the whole point of controls, right? That way, you know what it is that's affecting how long the light stays lit. The only thing that's different, you can only have one thing that's different, the brand of battery, right? And then you do your experiment. You put your batteries in, you turn on your flashlights, and then you leave the room. Now, if you leave the room, how are you going to know when the batteries go out? You might have to set up your phone and video it. I don't know if you have enough time on your phone. Maybe
Yeah.
you set your alarm and you check the flashlights like every hour or every half hour to see how they're doing, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. So now analysis. This is where you go and you look at what happened in your experiment. Okay. So you need to analyze the results to see if what happened supported what you thought. We said we think Duracell batteries are the best. So now you would look at your experiment. Did this Duracell flashlight last longer than the other one? That's what you would look at it and you'd say, okay, well, the Duracell flashlight lasted longer. Everything else was the same. So now you can draw a conclusion. You see, it says draw conclusions. Now you're going to say, okay, based on my experiment, Duracell lasts longer. However, what if you got a bad Energizer battery and you didn't know? Sometimes you buy batteries and they've been sitting on the shelf for a long time and they end up being bad. What if you got one of those and you didn't know that? And so you decided Duracell was better, but maybe the Energizer would have been better if it wasn't an old battery. So this is why you have to analyze your results. You have to sit there and go, well, yes, the Duracell lasted longer, but maybe I need to repeat this experiment with different batteries just in case I had a bad Energizer.
Yeah.
Or maybe you need to have 2 flashlights with Duracells and 2 with Energizers. And that way you can see, do they all last exactly? Maybe the Duracell lasted 27 hours and the Energizer lasted 21 hours. If you do it with 2 of each, you get a better idea of exactly, because maybe you have to average those numbers. Maybe when you do it with 2 flashlights with Duracell, one goes 27 hours and one goes 25.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we need to take an average, right? And then you do it with the 2 Energizers and maybe it's 21 hours like we said, and then maybe the other one's 15, you know? So that would be you repeating the experiment and having more data to choose from. You could also do the experiment 3, 4, 5 times. That way you get more data. You'd have to look at your results and decide, if do I need to do this again, or am I sure this is right? If you're sure that it's right, then you make your conclusion. You say, well, I did the experiment 5 times. The Duracell, it didn't always last 27 hours. That was my best time, but it always lasted longer than the Energizers. So then you could say that was your conclusion. Duracells on average last longer than Energizers. And that's the last step, right?
Yeah.
Notice there is a print at the bottom of this page. This would be a good page to print out and put in your folder because it's got the steps. And if you get asked for the steps of the scientific method, hello, the next quiz, you've got it right there. You don't have to write it down. You just print the page.
Oh, okay.
So now let's go to the next page. I'm going to X that one out. All right, so that was that page. Now we still got to scroll. You see there's limits of science down at the bottom. Okay, so we got to scroll. Limits of science. And so here's the thing. Science cannot explain everything. Like, for instance, we think we know what gravity is, but we really kind of don't know what it is. And physicists keep coming up with new ideas about what they think gravity is. Yeah. So science can't explain everything. We can explain a lot of things, but yeah, you know, you can't explain everything. All right. And so this is, they just get philosophical down here, things to think about, because these days a lot of people question what science says. Other people believe every single thing that any scientist says. You know, scientists are human beings and they can kind of skew results to go the way they want them to go. That's called bias. It happens all the time. I used to subscribe to a particular magazine called Discover. And I realized after subscribing for 2 or 3 years, I was reading all the articles and I saw that the editors and a couple of the main writers, I could see their personal bias in certain areas, and it really bothered me because I love science, because to me, science is like truth.
Yeah.
It really bothered me that these people were trying to influence people's opinions. I'm going to tell you what it was about. It was about evolution. I'm a person of faith. I think that God can use whatever tools he wants to make things however he wants to make them. And I love science because it helps us see how he did it. But I also think that evolution is still a theory and it has a lot of gaps in it that they have not explained. So when I see people trying to force that down my throat, I have a problem with that. As a scientist, you're allowed to have your opinions.
Mhm.
but you have to present facts to people and not
Yeah.
so that's what this is talking about down here. And it's worse now. That was when I was in my 20s and I'm 60 now. So that's been like about 40 years. It has
Mhm.
gotten way worse now.
Oh.
So yeah. Anyway, okay, next page. So we did the activity on that page. We clicked on the tutorial. We read it. Okay. Boom, next page. Theory or hypothesis. Here we go. A hypothesis is a reasonable explanation using some data that you already have observed, as opposed to just coming out with a wild guess. Well, I'm going to pick Energizer because I like the silver packaging. Well,
Yeah.
that's not a good way to decide, right? Okay. Scientific theories. They love in science classes. This is a big thing. Theories versus laws. Okay. They're going to ask you this on the exam. They're going to ask you this on the next quiz that you have coming up after this. They love this one. This might be a
Okay.
page that you might want to print. Okay. So we've got scientific theories. The Big Bang Theory explains the beginning of the universe. And a lot of people have made observations like they can tell which way the stars are moving using the Doppler effect, which is cool. I don't want to get into it because otherwise this lesson I'm doing with you will last like for 5 hours. So I'm not going to go there. But they do know that the stars and the matter in the universe is all moving outward. That is true, using science. Okay.
Yeah.
Einstein had a theory of relativity that the space and time are the same thing and that it's all curved and it's like fabric and it's crazy. Anyway, everyday theory. There's a little girl. I have a theory that these cookies won't last long because that little girl's going to eat all those cookies, right? Like if she's in there. Okay. That's not the same thing, right? Yeah. Okay. So we're looking at theories. So our everyday theories, it really is a hypothesis. I see people getting in this jar. I didn't take an experiment, but I'm going to say from my past experience that she's going to eat those cookies, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Scientific disagreements. Scientists disagree on stuff all the time. And that's why it's good to call things theories, because if you can't get everybody to agree, then it's not a law. The laws of gravity that Newton came up with, everybody agrees on those. It has been observed and tested over and over and over again since, by the way, Newton was like 21 years old when he came up with these laws of gravity and motion. 21. Holy crap. He was like a genius. He was smarter than Einstein. Einstein says all the time, the only reason I'm able to do what I do is because I stand on the shoulders of giants. And he means Newton, who this was this amazing guy. Newton figured out almost all of physics by the time he was 24.
Dang.
And then he got bored. What am I going to do now? Actually, when he got older, he used to go undercover and try to catch people who were counterfeiting gold, because there were these guys that would do alchemy and they'd take metals and turn it to make it look gold, and they'd say, oh, this is gold, give me a lot of money, I'll make you all this gold, but you got to pay me. Yeah, they weren't making gold. And Newton was trying to figure out how that was, so he would disguise himself as like a common guy and he'd go and hang out at bars and stuff and try to catch counterfeiters, and he'd try to make deals with them. Yeah, that was like one of the things he did. He also tried to figure out chemistry and he couldn't figure it out. I love that because my main subject that I studied in college was chemistry. So I'm like, yes, Newton got stumped by my subject. It took about another 50 years for scientists after Newton died. Like he died in 1724. About 50 years after that, several guys all started talking to each other and comparing their results, and they started figuring out more about molecules and stuff. So, okay, scientific disagreement. So, and by the way, a lot of people thought Newton was full of it when he was talking about how the planets move in an ellipse and not a straight circle. And everyone's like, well, why would they go in an ellipse? Ellipse is like an elongated circle, right? It's like an oval. And he goes, well, I can tell by when I measure where the planet moves, how it gets further away this time of year, but then it's closer this time of year. And other guys made the same observations. And so those guys agreed. But the other guys who didn't do that, they're like, you're full of it. You guys are making that up. And there was a guy that was his main rival called Robert Hooke. And Hooke was jealous of Newton because Newton was like the boy wonder. And so Hooke was always arguing with Newton all the time. Or he'd say, oh, yeah, I already discovered that. I know all this stuff because I have a really great video that I used to show my students in school about Newton. And it's great. They tell you all this great stories about Newton. It's a great video. I might share that with you guys. If you're like bored and you want to watch something, it's really cool stuff. So scientists do disagree. And the thing is, as long as they keep sharing information with each other about how they've experimented and what results they got, they can continue to learn. And that's really important part of science, is that you're willing to take other people's data and try to see what it means and put it in with your data. You know, that's really important. Yeah. Okay, next page. Page 4, physics and chemistry, woohoo! So the first half of physical science is physics. The second half of physical science is chemistry. These sciences are called the physical sciences because they deal with things that you can see, things you can observe and put your hands on. And that's why we mean by physical science. And so it's always some chemistry and some physics. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And you'll see down here, chemistry is the study of the composition, structure, and properties of matter and the transformations they undergo. In other words, how things change. They have chemical reactions and they change into okay. Chemistry is really fun. My dad was a chemical engineer, so we used to do experiments at home all the time. So I kind of grew up. And then physics in the next paragraph is the study of matter and energy and how they interact with each other. Okay. So now physical science, by the way, just so you don't get intimidated, because those are not easy science classes. This class is basically an introduction to each one, because it's only, each one of is only half of a year. You're not doing a whole year of physics, Alex. You're just doing half a year. So it's just an introduction. Okay. It's not like super deep, which is good. So that means it's doable. Okay.
Okay.
All righty. All right. And so they give you a real world example of how understanding physical science can be helpful. And they talk about the tires over there. They're made of rubber and other compounds. And so depending on how the rubber is processed, your tires can be flexible, or they can stick to the road, or they can be more rigid. Like if you live up north, you put snow tires on. Snow tires help you not slide as much because they grab the road. But like in Florida, you don't really want that, because the road is hot. You don't really need that. We don't have ice. We do with rain. So you need them to grab the road some for rain, but it's not as bad as ice. And if the tires grab the road, it wears them down more. So you don't want to spend money on tires. Like a whole set of tires is like $500 or whatever. You don't want to be wasting your money on tires. So it's good to have different properties of the rubber. And so understanding the physics of how the tire interacts with the road, the people use chemistry to make different designs of rubber, different ways of mixing the molecules to get them, or chemically treating them or heating them certain ways to make the tire have different properties. So you have to have those sciences to have good tires on your car. We don't think about it, go buy the tires, but yeah. Okay, next page. So now we're on the last page. And this is the assessment page. Now, I want you to notice instructions. Read each question and select the appropriate response. Okay. All right. So notice at the top of the page, before we do any self-check or anything, you see it says assessment?
Yeah.
That is not your assessment. That's just a review of what you're going to do. Do not try to answer these questions. A lot of my didn't understand that, and they always try to answer those questions. This is just a review. It says at this point you will be able to describe what characterizes science, recognize that science claims rely on critical and logical thinking, explain the differences and uses of theories and hypotheses. Okay, so that, now scroll down. I'm going to scroll down. There's a self-check right there. And then at the bottom, assessment 1.01, the study of science. You're going to go into your lessons and you're going to see this assessment. Well, how do you get a grade? It says complete all tasks that are outlined in the lesson. We just did them all. We watched little videos. We clicked on, was this science or it's not science? We did that, right?
Yeah.
And then it says complete assessment of 1.01, the study of science. Okay. So now, good science can answer. So here's the self-check. So let's do it. Good science can answer all questions, true or false?
True.
Remember they said it can't explain everything?
Oh, yeah. False.
If you weren't sure, you could go back and look. What I tell students is you can open another tab on your computer and have the module open while you do these kind of things. You're allowed to do that, okay? All right, so we're gonna say false. Correct. They can answer a lot of questions, but only ones they can test. You can't test everything. Okay, so we click okay. Next one. So we go to the next question. Here's the arrow. Great. Areas of study like art and history that do not test things are still considered scientific. True or false?
Science. No. False.
False. Right? So click on it. Correct. Because you have to be able to test things for it to be science. Okay.
Yeah.
And we go to the next question. Scientific concepts are often ahead of technology. What do you
Is
think?
that a no also?
Skip that part.
Yeah.
Technology, let's talk about that. I'll just help you out with this. Technology is when you take science and you apply it to the real world. So if you were a scientist who was going to make better tires for cars, wouldn't you want to know the scientific concepts of rubber and its properties first before you start fooling around with the rubber? Yeah. So you would really want the scientific concept first, and then they take those concepts and they go, well, I'm going to test it. Let's try making all these different kinds of tires and see which one works the best, right? So we're going to say true, scientific concepts come before technology. Technology is applied science. That's what it is. Okay, so we're going to go true. Correct. Some scientific ideas cannot be tested fully until the technology catches up with the creative minds of the scientists. So Tesla, do you know who Nikola Tesla was? You ever heard of that guy?
Nikola, no.
Tesla. You know who Edison is, right?
Yes.
Edison, right. He had all those inventions and he had all these patents. Do you know there was another rival inventor of his called Nikola Tesla? Tesla thought of the idea for cell phones. What year did cell phones come out? Do you know what year that was? I can tell you when I got my first cell phone, but go ahead. Guess what year you think it was?
19. Around 19.
I was born in 1960. They did not have cell phones yet. Okay.
So like around 1980.
They actually started having cell phones in the 80s. You're right. They had car phones. They were these giant things.
Yeah.
You had a console in your car, and you were like, it was just, and it would get really hot. And you could only talk for like 5 minutes on it.
Yeah, it's like a radio.
It was crazy, right?
Yeah.
I got my first cell phone in 1997. I was 37. And I got it because I had a job over in Brevard County. I was teaching music at a college over there, and I would drive back and forth, and there's big stretches of road where there's like no call boxes or anything. I thought, okay, I need a cell phone. So I finally got a cell phone. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Tesla came up with the idea for cell phones in 1926. Dude.
That's long.
60 years before they actually invented them, Tesla said there is a way to send radio type signals to communicate and carry voices, and it can be portable. Yeah. You know why we didn't get cell phones sooner? Because people like Edison were trying to shut Tesla down. Tesla was another super genius like Newton.
Yeah.
And yeah. So unfortunately, sometimes, like I said, scientists can have bias. Tesla came to work in his lab, and Tesla would come up with all these inventions, and Edison would take credit for them because Tesla was working for him, and so he got to do that. Big companies still do that. Like if you work for IBM and you come up with a new device, they get the credit.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, that's not cool. Anyway. All right. So there we go. We said yes. We got that one right. Self-check. All right. Let me see. We got one more question. So here we go. Last question. Chemistry and physics are called the physical sciences because which one of those is it?
The first one?
Are part of any good fitness program? Dude.
Oh, mine says study how the fitness works behavior.
The physical. Yeah. Oh, yours is in a different order than mine. Yeah. You're right. That is the first one. You are correct. Click on that one. Yes. And then it says submit at the bottom. So you can click submit. Correct. Yeah. Yep. See, now that basically was your main assignment. That watching the video at the beginning of the lesson and that one thing where you had to click whether it was science or not science.
Oh, okay.
If you skipped that, you would not get the assessment grade. It would give you a failing grade on the assessment. So you can't skip any of that stuff. Okay.
Okay.
And there's a restart. If you mess it up, you can take it again. All right. So that's page 5 of 5. Now we scroll down and it says, complete all the tasks. Okay, we did all the tasks now. Then it says number 2, complete assessment 1.01, the study of science. Now we have to find where these are. So we're going to go up to the hamburger menu again. You see it says assessments. Okay, so you're going to click on assessments and it should open up an assessment page. Now, I don't know if I have one of these. Oh, there it is.
Okay,
this is actually assessments I'm grading of other people's. You should get a page that shows your assignments on it. Do you have that?
Yeah.
Right, and it starts with 1.01. What grade
Yep.
does it show that you got?
Right now it says doesn't show anything.
Okay, did you click through all the stuff like I did while we were doing it on the Zoom meeting?
Yeah.
Okay, then it should show you something. I don't actually know what the student page, actually, wait a minute, I might have a student. Oh, I have access to a student page, but only from my peer counseling class. Well, how about assignments? Let's click on assignments and see what that looks like. Aha, that's the page you want. Did you see how I found it? I went to the hamburger menu.
Yeah.
And I went over under assessments. I went assignment. And I clicked on assignment. So go ahead and do that. You should see a page like this.
Assignments. Yeah.
Yes. Now the first one that we just did, 1.01, should show up and it should be highlighted in green because you got a passing grade on it. Is it?
No.
Oh, it isn't. Does it tell you a score next to it?
No.
What does it say?
It says NA.
Okay, I guess it doesn't. Well, NA. I guess because it was just like not an actual test, it doesn't get a grade. Okay.
Oh, okay.
What's the next assignment say?
0.1. I mean 1.02 speed, velocity, and acceleration.
Acceleration. Okay, so now we didn't go through that lesson. So let's go back up to the hamburger menu and click lessons. Okay. And now it should take us to that page, that brown page again. Like there we go. So we go back into motion and we did 1.01 and now we're going to go to 1.02. By the way, I want you to notice, you see sometimes some of them say honors like that.
Yeah.
You don't do those. Skip it.
Okay.
All right. So you're going to click on speed, velocity, and acceleration. All right. Here's an activity. You get to start right away with an activity. And this is a fun one. One of these, the roller coaster King to Ka. My brother lives up north. I have a lot of siblings, and my brother keeps going, "You gotta go on King to Ka." I haven't been on it. It's at Great Adventure in New Jersey, and that's like 2 hours from where he lives. Have you been on that coaster?
No.
Oh, my brother keeps telling me, "Oh, it's the best coaster. You got to come up here. We got to go to King to Ka. We got to King to Ka." So the last time I went up there, it was closed. I was so mad. I'm like, no. So on this activity, let's see what it says. We discuss speed when we compare the movement of fast objects like cars and airplanes. Can you match each of the following to their maximum speed? This is one of those activities. You can't skip it. You have to do it. It's part of doing all the activities in the lesson. So let's see. We got speeds over here on the right. And then we got 6 different things like a cheetah. Do you happen to know off the top of your head how fast a cheetah can run?
That's 70.
Yeah, so you click on the 70 and drag it over to the cheetah and you put it on there. And it says, yes, the cheetah is the fastest land animal. It has been added to the endangered species list. That doesn't mean you got it wrong. You got it right. All right, let's guess another one. How about a falcon? Like a peregrine falcon is the fastest of all the birds. Do you know how fast?
I say, yeah, 128.
Let's try that and see if you're right. It's not right, but we're going to try it. Go ahead and put 128 over on the falcon.
Yeah.
It's going to be wrong.
Yeah.
Try again. It's over. Let's try 200. We'll try 200.
200?
Yeah.
200.
Yep. They can die when they dive because so they'll have to be really high up and they see a prey item because they have amazing vision. They can get over 200 miles per hour at the bottom of their dive. Yes. My family, we love animals and animal facts and stuff. I'm one of the weird people. I like snakes and spiders. I watch a channel where they go out and hunt snakes. I watch all kinds of weird stuff like that. So I already knew that about the peregrine falcon. Okay, so we got the peregrine falcon. He's 200. Okay. Which one of those do you think would be probably the ones that are left? Which one do you think is 128?
Probably the roller coaster.
I think you're right. Let's do it. Let's drag it over on King to Ka.
Oh, try again.
Roller coaster Six Flags in New Jersey was named the world's fastest roller coaster in 2005. However, the Ring Racer in Germany, which is under construction, boasts 135. Yeah, but they haven't built it yet. So Ka is still the fastest coaster. 128 is fast for a roller coaster.
Yeah.
Most roller coasters do 50 to 60 at the bottom of a hill, which is when you're going the fastest.
Yeah.
That's pretty fast. Now, like I said, my brother keeps going, you got to go on it. So I haven't. All right. Now we've got 257, 400, and 2000. All right. Which one of the 3 do you think is 2000 miles per hour? Look at the 3 that are left.
Probably the plane.
Yeah, I think so too. Let's do that. Put the plane over there.
Yeah, the
Yep,
jet.
Lockheed SR-71 Blackbird holds many speed records. It flew from New York to London in just under 2 hours. Yeah.
Dang.
They used to have a plane back in the 80s that did that. It was called the Supersonic. And
Mhm,
people would actually pay. You would have to pay like $10,000 for your plane ticket to ride on
mhm,
that thing. But
dang.
then it was too expensive and they discontinued it. So now but they still mess with the technology, you know. Okay,
Mhm.
we've got 257 and we got 400. Which one do you think is probably the 257?
I say the SSC.
All right, I don't even know what that is, but let's do it. It's ultimate here arrow. Is it a plane? I don't even know what that
I
is.
think it's a car. Oh, that's
Okay,
wrong
well, let's
too.
find out. Let's put it over there.
No, I was wrong.
It says the ultimate arrow can do 0 to 60 in 2.7 seconds and costs over 600,000. I think that's right. If you're wrong, they tell you. That means the
I
Dodge Tomahawk motorcycle can do over 400. Let's find out.
Yeah, I know that's right. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. We got them all right. Okay. Yeah. In theory, the Dodge Tomahawk can exceed speed over 400. 9 were sold for over $500,000. However, the Dodge Tomahawk is not a legal street bike in the United States and cannot be ridden on public roads. But you
Yeah.
can somewhere on the Autobahn in Germany where
Yeah.
you go as fast as you want.
Uh-huh.
Somebody's riding that. Here's the thing. I don't care what kind of protective gear you're wearing. If you're going over 400 on a motorcycle and you hit a rock in the road and you're going to bite your
Yeah.
in your face really bad, it's
Mhm.
probably going to kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we did that. Now I want you to notice, see the show text version button at the bottom. Let's click try again. Just let's put that so it puts all the speeds back over. Now click on show text version. There they all are.
Mm.
Kind of cheating. But it's more
Yeah.
fun to do the activity. Now you can do that, but you still have to do the drag and drop. The system knows whether you do it or not. But this is
Okay.
what you would use if you thought, I need this chart. I'm going to copy this chart. You hit the
Mm.
text version and it'll have the answers on there. There is a chart you're going to need to do that for. It's in section 1.04 on forces. There is a chart that has the 4 fundamental forces and it compares them. You need to do that for that chart when you get there. So
Okay.
I'll remind you of that when you get there. Okay, so let's go back to the interactive. So we did the interactive, we're good. We scroll down, okay, objectives. So now this is what we're going to do in this lesson. You're going to learn about the frame of reference, determining speed, velocity, acceleration, and relating those to objects in motion. Okay, so that was page 1. Page 2. All right, page 2, we're at the top. What is speed? Now look in this box. You see you got arrows, but you also got dots here. So they're basically going to introduce
Yeah.
you in little chunks. Okay. So here's a guy who's about to throw the ball. How fast can you throw a baseball? Can you do 90 miles an hour?
No.
No, neither can I. Obviously, I can't do that. 2 of my brothers played Little League, baseball. So I know about baseball. It used to bore the crap out of me. The only reason I went to games is we could go and buy those super long licorice or those big pixie sticks.
Yeah.
I admit it. Okay. Speed. Signs on the side of the road have speed limits, right?
Mhm.
Top speed of the roller coaster, we just looked at that. Statistics for the fastest recorded pitches. These are, so what is speed? Click on the next button or the arrow, either one. Speed describes how fast something's moving. In physics, though, we're going to be more specific than that. A simple example would be, look at your speedometer. It tells you miles per hour, right? It tells you the speed. Next button.
Yeah.
So notice when you look at your car's speedometer, it only tells you the speed at which you're traveling. It does not tell you the direction in which you're traveling. Speed just measures the amount of distance traveled in a certain amount of time. It doesn't measure what direction you travel. Now, why do we care? Because when you calculate speed, you need to know what are the things you have to do calculations. Are you going to have to do speed calculations on the exam for this module? Yes, you are. So you need this formula.
Okay.
So see in the little window, it says speed equals distance divided by time. Write that down.
Yeah.
You should write that down. You're going to need that one. And by the way, that is my first question on my DBA with you that we're going to have when you get through this module. Question number 1, what's the formula for speed? I feel the need to ask you about speed. Okay.
Okay.
You got it? Okay.
Yeah.
Next button. All right. So for example, here's an example. If you walk 2 miles in 20 minutes, so you put the distance miles on the top, 2 on the top, 20 minutes will go on the bottom. 2 divided by 20 is 0.1 miles per minute. Okay, that would be your average speed. Okay, that's how you do it. You put the numbers in and you divide with your calculator. Okay, next one. This average does not mean that you are walking at a constant speed of 0.1 miles per minute on your walk. Although maybe some people can do that. Most people go slightly faster, slightly slower. You may have started faster, but then slowed down by the end of the walk, or you might have even stopped, or you might have rested or something. So it's average speed. Okay. All right. In physics, that kind of stuff matters. Instantaneous speed is a thing. This is a vocabulary word. Let's go up to the glossary and see if it's in there. Gloss.
I lost connection.